Join us on Patreon and become part of our journey to uncover history's untold stories. Your support helps us create in-depth content, bring hidden narratives to life, and keep history alive for everyone.
The vast, sweeping landscapes of the American West hold secrets buried beneath the sands of time, whispers of lost histories that challenge conventional narratives. Among the most enigmatic of these stories is that of the Utah Moors, an elusive Black Indigenous people whose existence, legacy, and cultural contributions have been largely erased from mainstream historical records. Who were these people? How did they come to inhabit the rugged terrains of the West? And why has their story been shrouded in mystery for so long? As we delve into this forgotten chapter of history, we uncover traces of a hidden civilization whose presence defies conventional accounts of America's past. From early African explorers who may have set foot in North America long before Columbus to the interwoven legacies of indigenous nations and Black maroons seeking refuge from slavery, the Utah Moors stand at the crossroads of an untold narrative. Their story is one of resilience, ingenuity, and a battle against forced erasure that continues to this day. The origins of the Utah Moors are debated, with theories stretching back to pre-Columbian African voyages. Some historians and researchers propose that African travelers reached the Americas centuries before European colonization, citing linguistic, genetic, and archaeological evidence that suggests early interactions between African and indigenous peoples. The accounts of Moorish explorers navigating vast oceans add a compelling layer to this theory, as historical records suggest that North and West African seafarers possessed advanced navigational knowledge that could have allowed them to cross the Atlantic long before European expeditions. As European colonial powers carved up the New World, the African presence in the Americas became more pronounced through forced migration. However, alongside enslaved Africans, there were also free Black explorers, traders, and warriors who established relationships with indigenous nations. Many African refugees seeking freedom from bondage found sanctuary among indigenous tribes, integrating into their societies, intermarrying, and contributing to the rich cultural mosaic of early America. The Utah Moors are believed to have been one such community, descendants of African travelers and indigenous peoples who carved out an existence in the rugged landscapes of the West. By the 18th and 19th centuries, reports began to surface of dark-skinned indigenous groups living in the deserts and mountains of Utah and surrounding regions. European settlers, traders, and even government officials recorded encounters with these enigmatic people, describing them as possessing distinct cultural traits that set them apart from other tribes. Some accounts suggested that they spoke dialects that bore African linguistic traces, while others noted their unique craftsmanship, spiritual traditions, and agricultural practices that differed from those of neighboring Native American tribes. Despite these historical references, the Utah Moors faced systematic erasure. The westward expansion of the United States brought with it the brutal displacement of indigenous populations, as well as the racial classification systems that sought to categorize people strictly as either Black or Native American, disregarding the complex identities that existed between those definitions. Government policies, such as the Indian Removal Act and the creation of reservations, disrupted the lives of many mixed heritage communities, forcing them to assimilate into either African American or Native American identities, thus obscuring their distinct histories. Further complicating the recognition of the Utah Moors is the role that race-based legal systems played in their marginalization. The one-drop rule in the United States dictated that any person with African ancestry was to be classified as Black, leading to the forced reclassification of many Afro-Indigenous peoples who had historically identified with their native roots. This reclassification, compounded by systemic discrimination, led to the erasure of entire communities from historical records, making it difficult for modern researchers to trace their lineages and document their contributions. Oral traditions, however, have preserved the memory of the Utah Moors among descendants who continue to pass down their ancestors' stories. Elders speak of hidden settlements, sacred sites, and secret migrations that allowed their people to survive even in the face of persecution. Some researchers and activists today are working tirelessly to piece together these fragmented histories, using oral accounts, archival research, and archaeological investigations to reconstruct the story of the Utah Moors. The study of DNA and genetic lineages has also provided compelling evidence of the Utah Moors' mixed heritage. Genetic studies of modern Native American and African American populations have revealed markers that suggest historical intermingling between indigenous tribes and African peoples, lending credibility to the accounts of Black Native American communities who thrived in regions like Utah. While much of this research remains in its infancy, it has the potential to reshape our understanding of America's racial and cultural landscape. Despite their historical marginalization, the legacy of the Utah Moors continues to influence contemporary movements for Indigenous and African American identity recognition. Activists and scholars advocate for the acknowledgement of Afro-Indigenous heritage, challenging the rigid racial classifications that have long dictated historical narratives. Their fight for recognition is not just about reclaiming lost histories. It is also about restoring cultural sovereignty and honoring the ancestors whose stories have been buried for far too long. The rediscovery of the Utah Moors represents more than just an academic pursuit. It is a call to re-examine history with a critical lens, acknowledging the interconnectedness of African and Indigenous peoples in shaping the history of the Americas. It is an invitation to look beyond conventional narratives and embrace the complexity of identities that have long been denied visibility. As we continue to uncover the truth, we move one step closer to giving voice to those who have been silenced, ensuring that the Utah Moors and their descendants are no longer hidden in the shadows of history.